2015, Ethiopia was the #1 tourist destination.
Do you ever imagine Ethiopia dealing with a problem of over-tourism?
Yes, we will have over-tourism. It's just a matter of time. We just need to be prepared.
Being a tourist and the reality of it is the same?
That's a good question.
Ras Abye, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Why know Ethiopia, first of all?
Why not? We know so much about the outside world. We know nothing about what's out in our own backyard. That's embarrassing. They say Arba means 40 springs. No, au contraire. There's 200 springs. The #1 reason why people come to Ethiopia is the Dana Desert. Because you have a volcano. Erta Ali, it's like open heart surgery. You see the earth breathing. I could hear, like inhaling and exhaling. This earth is alive, and that's why people come from all over the world to see the earth breathing. This is deep.
Do you have any target tourists that should come to Ethiopia?
This is what I tell everybody who come to visit Ethiopia. Ethiopia is more than a destination.
Yeah, right.
Ethiopia is a place of transformation. It transforms you. Since the 50s, Ethiopian tourism has been focusing on Western nations.
Yeah.
I disagree with that. Even though we're not being colonized, we have colonized minds, my brother.
Where do you see Ethiopian tourism in the coming 10 years? Ras Abye, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I was really wondering, watching some of the interviews and the works that you involved in, and wanted to understand where this guy is coming from and who this guy is. So tell us who you are.
I'm a born Ethiopian.
All right.
It's right here by the train station, because I come from a family of railroad workers. That's why we went to the French school. And of course, during the Ethiopian Revolution, like everybody else, I went to Djibouti. And, 17 years old, I learned how to be on my own. And after Djibouti, I went to the States. I was mainly in the Hawaiian Islands. And about 25 years ago, I returned home. And ever since then, I've been crisscrossing Ethiopia from north to south, west to east.
Amazing. It's not a trend in Ethiopia for someone of our maybe generation to say that they know Ethiopia as well as you do. So why know Ethiopia, first of all?
Why not? Why not? Because we know so much of the outside world, especially when we lived abroad. And especially being me, running into many African Americans and even, Europeans and Americans who told me they know Ethiopia. It all started on the volcano in Hawaii, actually. There is astronomy, observation place on Mauna Kea. So I went up, and I told them, I asked them a lot of questions about the volcano in Hawaii. And they said, where are you from? I said, from Ethiopia. And that's when it started. They said, wow, don't you know the most unique volcanoes in the world are in Ethiopia? Ever since then, and I said, I have to go. I have to know what's in my country. And of course, coming to Ethiopia, we have our comfort zones, which is called Adama, which is Awassa, or we go to Bahir Dar. We don't want to go further, And I made it my mission to know what's beyond, what's over beyond the asphalt road. What's beyond the destinations, because there must be something. We have roads, who go from Addis to Mekelle, from Addis to Yabello. And that's the sights that people see. What about inside the country? What about, within the country, in the mountains, in the deserts? That's what Ethiopia is. And foreign visitors, especially documentary filmmakers, they're not interested in what's easily accessible. They want to know what's beyond.
It's really amazing because I was trying to understand your upbringing and everything you went through, the school you went to, and the things that you studied in your life. And I learned that you went to Lycée Gabriel Mariam in Addis, a very prestigious school for a person of my background, or anyone for that matter, in Ethiopia, in Addis. And you have had this opportunity to work with different people at the UN and in different places, had the privilege of meeting great people. And I would imagine you going into having or seeking a comfortable life, and you got that in the US. That's my imagination. But coming back to Ethiopia to explore, to go to these places where the weather is really harsh, why?
Again, why not? I get this a lot from my friends who say to me, Abi, you're getting old. I mean, this is too much. You've been a refugee in Djibouti for 4 years. Why go through this? I said, why not? We know so much about the outside world. We know nothing about what's out in our own backyard. That's embarrassing. That's very embarrassing. A person like me, always seeking knowledge, always seeking self-knowledge, I had to know where I come from. It's easy to say, I'm a Rasta man, I'm a black man, I'm an African, and you don't know nothing about what's going on in your own neighborhood, in your own country. That's embarrassing. So when I see the foreigners coming into our own backyard, knowing more, really what really got me was the French Center of Ethiopian Studies. After lycée, I was teaching lycée, then I started working as interpreter for them. And I was shocked. They knew about our industries, our farming, our agriculture, about our ethnic groups, our border problems. They knew about everything. And everything was written in French. The first job they gave me was to go, I had to take these French students who were doing their masters about industrial pollution, about AGI River. So we started canvassing every industry from Gotara all the way to Kaliti. And we were seeing that the rivers were polluted because of the waste that was coming from, number one, the Era. Number two, Coca-Cola. Number three, the tanneries. The tanneries, they tell you, they recycle the dark waters. They don't. So all that water goes to Abba Samuel. From Abba Samuel, it goes into Awash. And Awash, it's used to irrigate all our farmlands in Oromia all the way to Afar. And that's when I said, oh my goodness, we're in trouble. These people know everything about us and we know nothing. Because everybody's in their comfort zone. They're happy having a drink at the Sheraton. They're happy to have, their children go to Sodari. But we don't know our country. But these people coming. So I had this personal urge of knowing and mastering what Ethiopia is all about. And that's when it started.
Okay, I'm imagining that the life questions or the struggles that everyone has in life, for Ras Abye, these are answered.
Say that again?
Do you have struggles in life? For example,
Who doesn't? But you see, living for 4 years in Djibouti as a refugee taught me a lot of things. Because, you are a refugee, you have no country, nobody cares about you and everything. It taught me the sense of survival. And then going to America, I realized America is not my country. I have a daughter who's born there who's American, but, it's still not my country. So I have to know my country. I need to master what my country is all about. Its resources, its challenges. I'd rather be challenged in Ethiopia than in America today, where Mr. Donald Trump is rounding up people and then throwing them into Guantanamo or some, concentration camp in Florida. I'd rather be here and deal with my problems here, face them, head on.
Amazing. The perception or the understanding I have of tourism is going to the lodges and seeing maybe the scenery and visiting places and kind of relaxing. Now I understand that is not tourism. Is that?
This is what I tell everybody who come to visit Ethiopia. Ethiopia is more than a destination.
You're right.
Ethiopia is a place of transformation. It transforms you. I don't care if you come from China, America. When they come to Ethiopia, they see the resilience of the people. For thousands of years, for hundreds of years, we resisted invaders. We have resisted political and economical tensions and drama, still smiling. So I asked them, what did you get out of Ethiopia? They said the people are happy. They don't have nothing, but they're still happy. They have humility. They have empathy. These are qualities that are rare qualities in humanity these days. And Ethiopia, again, it's not just a destination. It's not just, okay, I went to Nepal, I went to Masai Mara, I went to Zimbabwe. Ethiopia, no. you have to come at least 6, 7, 8 times to have a full understanding of Ethiopia. If you're with me, of course.
You said overstanding?
Overstanding, yeah.
Why?
Why? Because English is so twisted. If you say understanding, you're standing under my opinion. But if you're overstanding, you see we're on the same level. You see, right now we're eye to eye. You're not like looking at me like this.
Okay.
Okay, so be careful when you speak English or French for that matter, because these 26 letters languages, they're very, they flat. They don't have what we have as Africans. You have language, we have tonalities, we have it's musical.
Yeah.
When a lot of people ask me, where did your language come from? I tell them it's from the birds. Our ancestors, they mimic the birds. That's why our language is so sweet. It's so, pleasant to talk, to speak.
All right. For a person of your caliber to ask if you have a favorite destination in Ethiopia would be, I don't know, understatement of some sort, but I should ask, do you have any favorite place in Ethiopia?
Ethiopia's highlands, Ethiopia's lowlands. Western Ethiopia, Eastern Africa, Eastern Ethiopia. All of it is my favorite because it's so diverse, and diversity, there's beauty. Okay? Let's take the Afar people. They live in the most hostile environment on the planet. I've seen the deserts in America. It don't come close. It don't. Why? Because the combination of this geographical location, it's so unique. It's under the sea level. And those people are, did you know their teeth is so strong? Why? I used to think it was the camel milk. No, it's the water that flows from the mountains that come from Tigray. They're so rich in calcium. The teeth of the people living in northern Afar is the strongest. That's why they're able to carve it. You see, sometimes they chop it and they make it, try that with your teeth. The whole thing will fall apart.
I wouldn't even imagine doing that.
Every place have its own treasures. Every place. Then I go to Omo Valley, and then I see these cattle herders who travel for days and days looking for green pastures, and they have to confront other thieves from other tribes, and it's just the wild, wild west. And how could I say, this is my favorite, and I don't, they're all my favorites.
All right.
When you see the fullness, when you grasp the fullness of Ethiopia, then you'll have an understanding of, I have to accept this place because it has so much wealth in it.
Okay, we have this understanding of growing up in Ethiopia, going to schools, universities, you understand that these white people coming to Ethiopia, they have money, they can give it away. So your impression is if you meet a white individual, they have all kind of money in the world, so they can give you anything. That is a very naive understanding of the tourists coming from abroad, from different parts of the world. Do you have any target tourists that should come to Ethiopia, not for the sake of the money?
That's a very good question. You see, we need to change our perception about tourism and the clientele. For a long time, since the 50s, Ethiopian tourism has been focusing on Western nations. I disagree with that. Why do I disagree with that? Because if you look, Western nations, the minute they see there's famine, there's some political tension, they don't come. They don't care about us. So we need to focus more on the Caribbean and African American group. But now, with the world economy shifting, we need to focus on the Asian tigers economies. I'm not just saying China. I'm not just saying Japan. I'm not just saying India. I'm also saying Singapore. But hear me. I do a lot of research of what's going on in our neighbor countries. Do you know the number one tourists going to Kenya? They're not British. They're not Germans. They're Indians. Why? Because they have disposable income. Have we done any trade fairs to India? No. We always going to Germany. We always going to London. And, we look so embarrassed because nobody want to come see us. Europeans, they see, you have to understand Europe is broke. It's getting broke. So the people who have the the means to come to Ethiopia are the ones who are retired. Young people in Europe, they have a big desire to come to Ethiopia. But remember one thing, Ethiopia is not a cheap destination. The plane tickets, the destination costly. I'm not knocking down the European visitors, but they're not being loyal to Ethiopia. They have not been loyal. And this is in our history. But this is my opinion.
Absolutely.
So, we need to look toward Brazil. Brazil is an emerging economy. Now Ethiopia is part of BRICS.
Yeah.
Great. So how come we're not sending delegations, to India? India have a huge middle class that has a lot of disposable income, and India don't care. The Indians, they come to Kenya, they come to Tanzania, they visit the wildlife, they like the safari. Ethiopia also has safari. Look at Chabara, Koisha. We have not done enough promotions. We're always doing the same promotions, begging for visa at the European embassies. It has to stop. They should be begging us to come here.
Great. The other day, I was telling a friend of mine that you'll be coming to the show, and this friend knows you work, and he has this understanding of tourism, and we were talking about over tourism in Europe and some part of European countries, for example, in Spain and other places. And I was thinking, I don't know whether it is a foolish thinking of some naive Ethiopian that is me. We have all these things, the axioms, the Lalibalas, the whole environment in the country. So I know the impact that tourism can bring on the economy and the development of a country. Do you ever imagine Ethiopia actually dealing with a problem of over-tourism?
Well, my brother, in 2015, Ethiopia was the #1 tourist destination. I didn't say it. World Tourism Organization said it. Yes, we will have over-tourism. It's just a matter of time. We just need to be prepared. But we need to change our perception. Only Europeans will come and visit us. We need to get out of that, box. We need to get out of it. We need to say to the world, this is the land of origins. Asians, South Americans, the whole world, Africans, Caribbean people, come to Ethiopia. Okay? That's when, we'll have we don't have the infrastructure to accommodate, over tourism, we don't want to repeat the same mistakes that our neighbors did either. We have to be very careful so that our tourism don't become sex tourism either. Okay, we have to be very careful that there is a work ethics so that tourism stakeholder is every Ethiopian, not the tour guides, not the government, not the tour companies, every Ethiopian. If you see a foreigner being robbed on the streets, everybody will jump. If you see a foreigner being cheated, that's another thing on YouTube. You see all these YouTubers coming, they charged me $3,000. So, and then they want to, cause defamation on Ethiopia. And I say it's because of lack of awareness. If we teach our vendors, our students, not to be begging, because these people come to take something. What they want to take is they want to transform themselves. They want to enrich themselves, and we have it. And we can do it without begging. But in order to do that, we need to change our perception. The perception is we think the white man is God. And it starts with the churches. Every wall have, the blonde hair, blue eye, Caucasian guy. And then, Lalibela is a big problem for me. When I take, my African brothers and sisters, they say, we didn't come all the way here to see this. Yeah, but you see, we don't have that issue in Ethiopia. So I have to explain, I have to be a bridge between the clergy and my people that, for Ethiopia, race, color is insignificant, but it's not easy to convey that.
Okay, help me understand this. As an outsider looking in the industry of tourism industry, I try to understand what Africa has to offer in terms of tourism. So what I see is documentaries or any publications that I see portrays Africa, or especially Ethiopia, this poor nation where there is no infrastructure, or if there is infrastructure, it's a very poor infrastructure. So why portray us like that? We're not like that. I mean, is there any benefit to gain from doing that for anyone doing that?
Brother, you sound so naive. In European universities, they teaching the youngsters that the only way for Europe to prosper is to keep Africa under turmoil. So that's the narrative they be bringing. Always is war, always is famine, always is tension. What else is new? So we need to do our homework. We need to clean our act together. We need to get our act together so that we don't have to give them room to criticize us, because the slightest small thing, mistake or problem there is, they're going to magnify it. For your question, what is there in Africa? Ethiopia, this whole Nile civilization is the source of human civilization. I said it in previous interviews. 900,000 years ago, the first humans who start carving obsidian stone to protect themselves, 47 kilometers outside the city of Addis Ababa, Melka Kunture. I can take you from 900,000 years to 3 million years. But then that's archaeology. We can talk about architecture. Granite stone is so hard to carve it. So when you go to Aksum, you have these granite steles standing up, but everybody sees the granite steles. What about the big dolmen, the big rock that has fallen? What's underneath? We haven't done enough excavation. We haven't done enough research about our civilizations. Granite stone, can you imagine? For 7 kilometers, they picked it up and then took it, carried it, and erected it in Aksum. Then you have Lalibela. We rock huge churches. But what makes Lalibela? Lalibela is a genius because he's a geologist, he's a mathematician, he's an architect. Whoever, but not just him, the people around him, they were so much into science. That's why they have left us a legacy that's still standing tall. Okay. Did you know we have the most friendly skies on the planet? Over 800 type of birds travel our airspace, and 32 of them are endemic.
Wow.
Just, our sky even is blessed. And I'll take you back. Former Greeks, they said, when they came to Africa for the first time, they said, that's where the gods love to be. What do you mean by gods? That means the people living on the Nile Delta used to worship the people living here as gods. So I had to go deep into that. What do they mean by that? It's the frequency, my brother. The energy that's here is nowhere else on the planet. Why? Because we have so much geographical location, extremes. Like I told you, we have land below sea level. And 70% of Africa's mountains are in Ethiopia. So I always say our geography is on a vertical. So that gives a lot of activities. Did you know in the 17th century, the French people came here to look for the stars? Why? Because we're so close to the equator. Okay, our sky is so clear. Now lately I heard that in Toto we have observation. But the best place where they came, can you believe, in the 18th century, they came all the way to Lalibela Abu Yosef Mountain to look for the stars, to search for astronomy. But, once we understand the fullness of what we have inherited in terms of natural resources, in terms of culture, in terms of language, in terms of written scriptures, in terms of customs, when I mean customs, traditions, way of life, like the what you call the Gada system, which is a democratic system. If I play it carefully, it will save all Africa. Okay, but we need to learn these things and be able to convey it to others, especially those who love Ethiopia, those who love Africa. I'm not saying all Westerners are anti-African. No, they're not. But the reality is Europe will not exist or prosper unless Africa is oppressed and robbed of its resources. And we as Africans, we have to protect our resources. And the only way to do it is by learning what we have. What do How many Ethiopians know Ethiopia? How many places you've been outside Addis, for example?
Me?
Where you been?
I was a
Work-related.
journalist, so I had the opportunity to see all places in Ethiopia. So
Yeah,
I could be the exception.
but you don't take it for granted.
Yeah, I don't.
You see? So,
Yeah.
so what I'm trying to say is by you being to all these different places, you know the challenges, but also the opportunities.
Yeah.
Once we do know the place and the opportunities, then we can be a part of the solution. How can you be in Addis? I always say that in a leather couch sofa, and then you have solution for the people in a hammer or what? No, you have to go there. Not spend a couple nights in fancy resort. No, come with me. Spend a week in the bush with me, and then you'll see what they go through. These people, they need small little things: clean water, electricity. They wouldn't be coming to Addis. They wouldn't be, because they have everything they need over there. The land is so rich. So we need to stop this, migration from the rural area to the urban. We could save it if we supply clean water, if we supply electricity for the people. And of course, I always say it again, it's hygiene. What's the big trouble for travelers in Ethiopia is the hygiene thing. Addis is getting solved, the problem, which is great. But outside Addis, we need to work on that. Yeah. So a lot of tourists, whether they're blacks or whites, they would tell me, we need toilets at these places. So the good thing with the good roads, we have hotels, 3-star hotels. So that's where they be using the restrooms. So once you come and see Ethiopia, I always tell them you have to make another 7 trips. Why not? Why? That's not Ethiopia. You need to see the fullness of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think the perception of being a tourist and the reality of it is the same? For example, the thing I told you about a white man coming here and me understanding that this is a tourist and he has all this money in the world, and tell me about the nuances, the details of it. What kind of people are coming to visit Ethiopia or the African countries or any part of the world it could be? So let us understand these people. Help us understand the whole nuance of it.
That's a good question. Before people come, I ask where they come from. So when they tell me Western Europe, I have a good idea. When they tell me they come from Eastern Europe, I have a very good idea. Okay? So the Western Europeans, they're more, diplomatic. They don't act like, they need special privilege. But the Eastern Europeans, they feel like, I'm a tourist and I need a special privilege type of thing. I understand, but we have to see that that's why I was telling you, we have to educate our people that every Caucasian, every European is not Elon Musk, is not Jeff Bezos. They're not billionaires. They are hardworking people. I was explaining earlier to our colleague that Europeans have a month paid vacation. Germans and French people and Spanish people. So what they do, they be renting the house to the Scandinavians, to the Northerners, and they come to Africa because it's much cheaper. And we think that these people are just going to save us out of poverty. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
No, they're just people living from paycheck to paycheck, struggling. But the concept that we have, even though we're not being colonized, we have colonized minds, my brother. We do. Let's face it. We do have colonized minds. We do think that, the Europeans are gods, saviors. And it has to do with the Derg time where Ethiopia became so dependent on these NGOs and all these USAID and all of that. Ethiopia was not like that. There is a European traveler of the 17th century who wrote, I've been all around these highlands and lowlands and have not seen one beggar. It's not in our culture to be begging, especially foreign people. This is the result of that Cold War drama that happened to Ethiopia. We got caught up between Russians and Americans who never fought. Okay? Again, we don't want to repeat the same mistake again. We don't want to be instruments of proxy wars for the powers that be. And we, instead of becoming Africa's breadbasket, we became, we've been tricked. We've been brainwashed. We've been for decades. We've been, brainwashed. This Eurocentric system of miseducation has always led us to see the West as a savior, because we don't know the history of the West. The West has so much dramas of its own, and I'm not, that's their problem. But we do need to come to ourselves. We do need to come to our senses. We do need to stop the noises and align ourselves with the energy and the frequency of the land. That way, our prayers will be heard.
All right. So I've had the chance to visit different European countries.
Okay.
And I have this amazement. I have this feeling of wonder looking at some of the places in Italy, in France, in Germany. I was really amazed at the different things they have. So my perception of Ethiopia growing up was Ethiopia, maybe going to other African countries in the north. Egypt could be close to Ethiopia in terms of having this rich history and artifacts and other things. I was thinking we're the only countries in here. So am I doing my understanding a justice and assuming...
You're overstanding.
That's your way of keeping the word. Let me keep it my way. It's all right. The semantics could be for another time. So am I wrong in actually assuming that the rest of the world has something to show, not only the African countries, especially because I'm Ethiopian, I shouldn't be selfish in assuming that we have all these things?
My brother, I have to give you some Afrocentric information.
All right.
We don't know the history of Europe between the fall of Rome till 1400. They kept it blank. Okay? After the 1400, with the discovery of the American continent, all of a sudden, Europe became a superpower. Do you think that riches, do you think those wealth came peacefully? They decimated the American continent. If you go to America, from South America all the way to North America, it was populated with people who had civilizations, big civilizations. The problem with these people, they had gold and silver. Spain and France and Spain and Europe wanted that gold and silver. So they just wiped them out. And they created these artificial countries. But why do we have to go there? Let's see to Africa. There are maps of Africa showing in Mali, in Benin, in Ghana, big civilizations. Yeah. They've been decimated. So what impressed you in those European museums was the loot, what was stolen from African continent, European continent, and the Asian continent. I'm not saying Europe doesn't have its own culture, but what Europe is showing you in its museum is the rest of the world's legacy. I mean, they even took from Greece. So when we ask for them to return our loot, they say, well, if we return Ethiopia's loot, we'll have to return the Egyptians. We'll have to return the Greeks also. So, yeah, it's impressive what they done with the little continent they had. Lately, the African Union said, we have to show the real maps. Africa is big, Europe is small. They've been tricking us, with our minds, making us feel that they've been great. The reason I speak with so much passion is because they made us hate ourselves. There is a big self-hatred in the African population, the Black population throughout the world, because we feel like, if I was born Caucasian, I wouldn't be in this mess. Come on. Did you know in our DNA there are 9 sequences?
No.
There's only 6 in other races.
Tell me about it. What is that?
Okay. We have melanin.
Yeah.
Melanin is the chemical thing running through us.
Yeah.
And that gives us 9 different kind of, DNA. And that's why, we are so resilient. Look at all sports. Who shines? Look at anything that requires any creativity. So as long we hate ourselves, as long we deny ourselves, of course, we'll be looking toward the Europeans and the Westerners and the Chinese for glory and things, because we don't know ourselves. Why do you think I went all over Ethiopia? To know more myself. So I could learn from the farmer, so I could learn from the cattle herder. Say there's a World War III tomorrow. Who do you think will survive in Ethiopia? The people who have access to water, groundwater. So do you think people who complain and lament because there's no water for 2-3 days and Addis will survive World War III? No. So that's what I was telling you. We need to raise awareness. The beauty, the riches of Ethiopia is just. I need an encyclopedia to talk about it from A to Z.
Yeah.
Our geology, our soil, our air, our mountains, everything is here for a reason. It has something to give to us.
Yeah.
It has something for us to nourish us. Food-wise, do you know sunflower? Sunflower is from Ethiopia. Teff is from Ethiopia. Coffee is from Ethiopia. But I was telling your colleague that they took one piece of coffee from Ethiopia, took it to Panama, and selling it for $100 a kilogram today. So we need to know what we have. Again, the false banana insect. A lot of people ask me, how come, in the 70s and the 80s, the drought did not affect all of Ethiopia? Well, the people living in the highlands in southern Ethiopia, they had insect. So they didn't have to worry about death. We have solutions to all our problems. It's up to us to go research it within us. We don't have to go seek help. I'm so glad, sometime there's that book, Lords of Poverty.
Yeah.
It opened my eyes because I really wanted to work for these NGOs, Action contre la faim, and work, in humanitarian. They're not here for the humanitarian. No way. They're not here for the humanitarian. There's no humanitarian about NGOs and all these, except, of course, Doctors Without Borders. There's maybe 2 or 3, NGOs that I would give respect to because I've seen them do the job.
All right.
But 99%, it's their Lords of Poverty,
Yeah. All right. So you're educating me about Ethiopian treasures, hidden treasures, and uncovering, unraveling what we have in the country. Is a beautiful lesson. I really admire this. But there's one thing I also want to understand and have a deeper, really insight of knowing. We see Aksum, we see Lalibela, we see places like Gondar, the castle in there, and all these places. The precision of how these structures and architectural wonders were made is really magnificent.
Correct.
It is really brilliant to think that our forefathers were that smart in thinking of the whole thing and making it come to life, making it a reality for us. The question I have is, this was one of the debating point, the discussion points with some of my friends going back to high school, university, and places like that. How come we're not doing all that now?
Good question. The education system. You see, when the first modern education came to Ethiopia, our grandparents were very naive. Very naive. All they looked at was the Industrial Revolution, how it changed Europe. So they wanted to change, our nation. So they started these private schools and missionary schools and stuff. But what they didn't realize that the brain of those of our grandparents and stuff was being brainwashed. They were told to hate their country. They were told to despise their nation. But of course, not everybody hates Ethiopia, and we did not have the realization that we come from a strong, creative, mighty race of Black people, And they limited our imagination. You have to have imagination, my brother. So how? Now you go to Yaha, right outside Aksum. I see the German lady, German are doing excavation. They say, this is Sabaeans, they're from Yemen. I had to have an argument with her. I said, come on, man, stop this nonsense. You might tell this for these young students, but not to me. What do you mean, she said? How are you going to tell me that, the first human beings come out of Africa, but, visitors from across the Red Sea came and gave us civilization? You don't think we have civilization? What about, our neighbors, the Nubians, Meroe? Are you going to tell me it was the Yemenis also? So we have let foreigners do excavations. Foreigners write our narratives. So just like Lalibela, they will tell you, in Gondar, they will tell you, it was Portuguese and Indian engineers who did the castles. It wasn't Ethiopians. Okay. Who was the labor then? Who was the rulers? Portuguese and Indians? You will never get credit from your adversary, period. So we have to ask ourselves, what happened to the vocational schools in Ethiopia? How come they didn't teach these things? How come the architecture schools of Ethiopia did not take their students to Aksum, to Yeha, and to Gondar and to Lalibela so they can have their own perceptions? We didn't do our homework. We always relied on this Eurocentric education. That's why, we as Ethiopians, as Africans, we have to read Marcus Garvey. We have to know, because our brothers and sisters who lived in the Western Hemisphere, they've seen the sabotage done on the race of people. So they say we have to be masters of all fields. That's why I'm against, having a degree in something. Ethiopia, I told you, it's a big, wide range of subjects. I have to know about geology. I have to know about trees and birds and the rivers, where it starts. Where does Awash start? Where does it end? Wabi Shabele, where does it come from? Okay? All our rivers, we are the water reservoir of the nation, but we're not using enough irrigation system. We're still on a traditional, primitive form of agriculture. So we need to sit down and cut the noise and think twice about what we have. That way we can be part of the solution. That's why I keep repeating.
All right. Would you say this is a better justification or a correct justification when someone assumes that the Europeans today are able to feed their citizens, so they're winning? The Africans today, or the Ethiopians today, are only feeding part of their society, so they're not winning. Is that a very good justification?
Did you know why Mussolini invaded Ethiopia? He said, let me invade Ethiopia, let me feed the world. We have the potential to become breadbaskets. But if our policy is to focus only on export products, of course we're going to be starving. Okay? We need to be more self-sufficient. So our so-called experts, they better know what to grow in this region, what not to grow in that region. And we can feed not only Ethiopians, we can feed the whole of Africa. But we're so caught up in this nonsense, believing, we're going to do cash crops. Great. I see some people growing avocado. It's great. I see some, but I don't see people eating avocados. I see a bunch of people eating raw meat. It pains me. It pains me.
You hate raw meat?
I mean, you know.
You're not for it?
I'm not for it.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm not for
Go
it.
ahead.
Yeah, I have my own personal reasons.
Sure.
You should cook your meat. If you're gonna eat meat, cook it. You know, don't eat it raw.
All right.
Because you have children, and then we don't want the children to be going through, health problems, health issues.
Sure.
Did you know how Emperor Menelik died?
You tell me.
Okay, so I'll give you some history.
All right.
His medical doctor, Dr. Workin, was begging his wife, please don't give him no raw meat. She said, man, you think you know everything, huh? You been to the white man place, huh? You think you man, shut the hell up. I'm going to give my husband the raw meat, the butter, the cholesterol, even the touch. A week later, the emperor had a stroke. So they had to keep it quiet for 7 years. All right, so we don't learn, I mean, we have to learn from our mistakes. Come on. How long are we going to go around vicious cycle of repeating the same old mistakes?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to change our diet, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I go around in the country with different people, they say, man, how come there's no fruits? Oh, when we go to the south, we'll have fruits. Abi, come on. We're in Lalibela. We want fruits. So lately, in the last 5-10 years, you see papayas and things come. We don't need enough fruit. What's wrong with us? We need to change our perception of how we eat. Okay? Because you are what you eat. The way you think the way you eat will affect the way you think. Because if your digestive system is clogged for 3, 4, 5, 7 days, how are you going to be creative? How are you going to get up in the morning without drama and stress?
Don't you think it depends on what the person is having in terms of their pedigrees or genealogy?
My brother, you're free to eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
But Ethiopia has so much. You have moringa, okay?
Yeah.
You have moringa in Ethiopia. How many people eat moringa except the Konso people? Speaking of the Konso, I have to say something. The Konso are unique in farming. They make terraces. And they have villages 1,000 years old. And what I respect about them, they have mastered Mother Earth. And if we're smart, we can learn so much from the Konso people about agriculture, diversification, how to fight erosion. They have the most driest land, but guess what? They grow tobacco, soybean, corn, you name it. Hardworking people. And what's driving anything is the food they eat. And what do they eat? That green leaf called moringa. Moringa gives them energy. So their digestive system is clean. So they don't have a problem waking up in the morning. They don't have problems, with their bowel movements. And how many Ethiopian people in Addis Ababa know about moringa? In your circle, how many people have it in their diet?
I hear about it in the radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Bishoftu?
Yeah.
Do you know a place called the Green Lake, Arangwadi Lake?
I heard about it.
What's in it? I mean, it's gold on the ground. Spirulina. So, I learned these things in tourism. Sometimes, the foreigners, they tell you, okay, the best spirulina in Africa is in Lake Bishoftu. It just blew my mind. Because I remember in America, in the health food stores, spirulina is like, exotic thing for celebrities. It's good for your longevity. And it's right here on the ground, in Bishoftu, Arangwadi Lake. It just, for me, that's why I'm always on the road, because I say to myself every day, I say, what is Ethiopia going to reveal to me today? Every day there's a revelation. Every day there's revelation, So we need to get our act together, We need to get our home together. We need to get our house together. That way, Ethiopia can reach where it's supposed to be. We need to stop the noises.
Yeah.
We need to stop the noises.
How do you think we could harness? Is there ways that you think about so that we can harness tourism for the development of the country?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a national pride, number one. And it's a great source of income. Not just for me, but everybody. That's why I told you tourism, the stakeholders is everybody. Every Ethiopian, every tour guide, whether nationally, whether locally, the hotels, the destinations, the sites, the gas stations. I mean, when we go, wherever we go, the vehicles need to have gas. Ethiopian Airlines, you know. So it's all connected, my brother. And all we got to do is just get our act together. You know, fix our home.
Yeah.
Once we fix our home, everything is in place. And tourism is something that you do with nepotism. You know, it's for those who are what you call it, competent people. Competent people, what I call competent people who know what they're doing, who know what they're saying. Another thing in the trade fairs, you know, we need to send competent people to represent, to speak, you know, about Ethiopia, whether it's, you know, the south, the east, the west, or the north. It doesn't matter. You need competent, because the foreign tour companies, they're looking for always for professionals. You know, they don't want you, know, that they don't want you to, they don't want to lose their business. So they want you to be efficient. And Ethiopia has everything. We have a very dynamic generation of young Ethiopian people who are coming up. And they're eager. They're eager to come and do what they're supposed to do. So, you know, we have the resources, we have everything. We just need to get our act together.
All right. Let's assume that you meet a 10-year-old.
A what?
A 10-year-old, a kid, a very young person who doesn't understand, who have no, this understanding word is playing with my imagination, because you told me that thing and it's crossing my mind a lot. So this kid comes to you and you are asked to tell this kid 5 major things about Ethiopia. This kid, boy or girl, has no understanding about Ethiopian tourism. What are the 5 things that this kid should know?
Is the kid, I don't like the word kid because, again, semantics, child.
Okay, this child. All right.
Salmon Nork, wax and gold.
All right.
Is this child African or European?
European child.
All right. This is what I will tell him. First thing I would tell him, in the Simien Mountains, we have 7-year-olds in charge of cattle, sheep, goats at 4,000 meters altitude. The village might be half a day away from where they are, you know, for the green pastures. And I would tell him that those children sometimes spend the night in those mountains with the cattle, with freezing temperatures. And the punishment, if they lose one of their sheep or goats, is no dinner the night they come home. That's the first thing. So that this brat child from the city understands that the life that he has at home is a privilege. So he got more respect for his parents. Because what we did with that younger generation, we made them too soft. We made them too selfish. We have no control over them. Second thing, I will take him to Afar. I will take him to where the women are. Women are in charge of getting water. We are in temperatures 45 degrees Celsius. Women and children will go out in the dust, in the desert, looking for water. And they would just carry their, 25 kilogram of plastic, jar and, fetch water and bring it home. That's for the girl, if she's a girl. Okay? Then, number 3, I will take him to Arbamij on Lake Chamo, and I'll show them the biggest crocodiles on the planet. And I'll show them the rainforest of Arbamij. And I'll tell them, Tarzan did never exist. Okay? This is the real people. This the rainforest. This rainforest that you see is not by rain, it's the springs of Arbamij. They say Arbamij 40 springs. No, au contraire. There's 200 springs. A lot of people say Arba means Arba because it rhymes. Okay, so they see how, the mythical Adam and Eve had lived. Okay, are we number 3?
Number 3.
Okay. Number 4, definitely, I'll take him to Malka Kunture. Why? Because, children, they confuse at home. School teach them evolution. Mm-hmm. At home, they teach them about God and, biblical stories. We need to be honest with our children. Okay? That we need to tell them, the religious stories, they're 5,000 years old. Okay? The reason they're 5,000 years old, because they've been, transmitted for 10,000 years ago from, Sumeria or Egypt. It came from that. That's another story. But why do I take them to Malka Kunture? So that they can use their hands, their fingers, to see the difference between a soft rock and obsidian rock. What's an obsidian rock? It comes out of the volcano. Without the obsidian rock, humanity would not have existed. We couldn't be fighting those dinosaurs and everything. So in terms of survival skills, the first human instincts started here in Ethiopia. Of course, the whole Rift Valley. We could go as far as Tanzania. That's 4.
We're on number 4 finished. Number 5.
Number 5. Number 5, I'll take him to the Blue Nile Falls. And why do I take them to the Blue Nile Falls? Is to show them that without this water, there wouldn't be no pyramids. There wouldn't be no Nile civilization. So don't think that, whatever you see on the Nile Delta just happened, like this. Whatever you see in Meroe, in Nubia, the pyramids, the 200 pyramids in Sudan didn't happen like this. Ethiopia is the source. And this water just flowed freely. Even though our, adversaries, they complain about not, about us using it. So that way, this 10, 11 years old will see that all these different aspects of Ethiopia and say, wow, where else can they gonna learn these things? Mm-hmm. Where else?
Absolutely.
Disneyland?
No.
Okay. Now, our so-called, elites and people, they take their children to Dubai and all these places. Yeah. Come on.
All right.
So how are you going to expect your children to love your country? Because like you said, we didn't take them to Simit Mountains or to Bale Mountains so they can see the hardship and the resilience and the strength of the people over there. We haven't taken them to the Afar so that they could see that even women are strong. They will walk in that heat of the sun and go get water. So we have nobody to blame. Mm-hmm. It's us. So that was a very good question.
All right. So I'm assuming that the child in question should understand discipline, should learn discipline and see how people are actually surviving in some part of Ethiopia. That's what I took. But I was under the impression that you'd say Aksum, Lalibela, and the places like that.
Well, that's secondary.
Yeah.
You see, a lot of people have a concept that, Aksum Lalibela is great.
Yeah.
But in tourism speaking, the number one reason why people come to Ethiopia is the Danaki Desert. Because you have a volcano, Erta Ali, it's like open heart surgery. You see the earth breathing. At first I was like, what the heck? Hawaii volcano, this volcano, what the heck? But then I realized this planet, this earth is alive. I would go up in that mountain and I would spend about a whole night and a whole day on the caldera back in the days before the road was done. And I could hear, like inhaling and exhaling. This earth is alive, and that's why people come from all over the world to see the earth breathing. This is deep. Of course, we caught up in our, little, historical north, which is great. But imagine millions of years ago, that's where the first, hominids, not humans, hominids, start walking. It's magical. I'll send you the link about how these people, the Afar people, I don't say survive, live in harmony with nature in this region where water is scarce, food is scarce, but they manage to live not for 10 years, but thousands of years. That's why we need to come in the picture, because climate change is making the situation from bad to worse. So we need to protect our people. A lot of people think, Ethiopia is Ethiopia is huge. So that's why I was telling you, I don't like the word indigenous, I don't like the word primitive, and I don't like the word aboriginal.
You don't like a lot of words.
Yeah, because once you understand what it implies, you know what aboriginal means? To abhor the original people. And we call ourselves land of origins. How are you going to call my people in the Omo Valley aboriginal? That means you hate my people. So that's why our even intellectuals need to, re-intellectualize and see that this 26 letters language have too many twists and turns.
Definitely. Okay. It is really interesting. I'm learning, as I've said earlier, a lot about Ethiopia, about my country. I'm loving my country even more.
That's what I want you.
Definitely. So let me take you back to the earlier child from Europe, a 10-year-old. You taught him all those lessons. You took him to places in Ethiopia. He learned all his lessons. If you met him after 15 years, when he is 25, do you really believe he would appreciate all those things and he would come untainted?
Well, I'm not a fool. I'm not a lunatic. I'm a very practical person. The reason I'm telling him these things for this child, so that when he goes to Europe, when he goes back to his universities and his books, as a human being, he can question himself, say, if we don't allow these African people live and thrive, we'll die too. Because Africa is the caretaker of the planet. There's enough for everybody. So this child, of course, he gonna realize that, okay, if I respect at least the dignity of the black race, then okay, I might have some chance for salvation or redemption. Okay, but I'm not expecting that. The reason I make them love Ethiopia, so that they could love themselves, so they can be less hatred. They can have less hate towards, us. Because they've been brainwashed too. Then be told with a bunch of monkeys. Look how they treat our soccer players, African soccer players in Europe. And then look how our Ethiopian youth, they're fans for Liverpool. Don't you know Liverpool is the result of slave trade money? But all these European ports, they prospered during, the Atlantic slave trade. And then, we see British League, Italian. That's another topic.
All right. As I've said earlier, I'm learning. I'm awestruck with all the conversation and the information that you are divulging, you are sharing here. It really forced me to take you back to your childhood and how you were brought up. And I want to understand how that context of your upbringing, how your father, the role of your father, your mother, and all the family members had in your upbringing, so that I can understand the Ras Abye that I'm talking to today. Okay. Take me there.
Well, my grandfather, I told you, my great-grandfather was a coolie, a day worker in the railroad. So he saw these Europeans, the French people, dressed in white shirts. He said, I don't want my child to be working as a hard laborer. So, he wanted him to have an education, which he did. So in 1905, my grandfather was the first, student of Alliance in the Redawa. But in those days, they were not secular. So they made them Catholics. And, my mother also had a good, education. But my father, who was a military man, didn't have no Western education. But he did believe that, if I'm educated, I'll be a better person. But I thank him so much because at the age of 7, he took me out of my comfort zone, made me cross the Blue Nile Gorges. And I got sick. We had, there was no V8 in those days. It was a Jeep, 1945 Jeep open. I'm 7 years old. He said, shut up, be a man. 7 years old. So I'm thinking we're going to have a Bakalamula type of hotel in Debre Marcos. I'm going to be sleeping right in a tent, military camp. Yeah, my father was old-fashioned guy.
All right.
And because I did not appreciate that those days. So I preferred always my grandfather and my mother life because the railroad, go first class to Deredawa, Buffet de la Garawash. So that gave me the notion of exploring Ethiopia. And till he died, my father worked for Ethiopia. Till he died. I mean, he retired from the military. He worked for the, smallpox eradication program. So he went to Matakel, Benshangul. He was all over. And, during occupation time, he fought the Italians. And, he was one of those, unsung heroes of Ethiopia. But he never wanted that credit because he said, there's people who are showing off. We're not here to show off. And that became in my DNA. And of course, when I went abroad, I had this urge and the curiosity. Oh man, I don't know Ethiopia. So the family instilled a love of country for me. My mother was the first entrepreneur, you could say, in Ethiopia, in Addis, female entrepreneur. She had chicken, she had eggs. She supplied Bambis and Ethiopia Hotel with eggs, Sarah farm, So she built her own house. So I saw they're not rich people, but they're very hardworking. When I call it rich, they didn't have land, they didn't have all of that. But they believe in hard work, believe in that work ethics, and they believed in love in the community. When she passed away, something touched me. In Olympia Kawabi, on the Olympia area, she was the only one who had electricity.
All right.
So we were gone. I was gone. I'm in Djibouti. I'm in America. So she allowed the neighborhood's people to use her electricity. So when she passed away, on the third day, the entire neighborhood came and told my sisters and brothers, we are the ones who are going to celebrate your mom today. Because if it wasn't for your mother, we wouldn't have electricity. So that's why I had parents who loved Ethiopia, who loved their neighbors, who loved their, it don't matter who you was, because they're from the Redawa and Harar area. They were very liberal people, My father was born in Kombolcha, right outside Harar, near Ejersa. My mother's born in Addis, but my grandfather's born in Harar. So, we have this liberal type of mentality. Everybody's welcome. If you go to my sister's house today, everybody's welcome. I'm just the one who's staying to myself because I need to recalibrate for every trip. So, yeah, the upbringing has a lot to do with it. My upbringing has a lot to do with it because they instilled in me discipline and responsibility. Yeah, we're responsible. Each generation is responsible. Okay, so they're saying, okay, now this is your turn. What you gonna do? Show me what you got.
Okay.
So this is what we need to convey to our children also so that they can love Ethiopia, so that they appreciate what they have, so they don't have to get caught up in the confusion and illusion of the outside world.
All right. Do you think how we perceive the Rastaman in Ethiopia is a correct way of perceiving the Rastaman? Is that the correct way?
Listen, the Rastaman is a natural man, okay? There's what I like about, being a Rastaman in Ethiopia. If you walk with me, everybody hails me up. The rich, the poor, the street people, Rasta. Yeah, because they know Rasta stands for, love, unconditional. You know, even white people love Rastafari. If you look, if you go to Europe, the largest population of Rastas is in Italy and Spain. If you look at Rototom concert, the Europeans are more crazy about Rastafari. It's like Ethiopia knows who Rasta is. Yeah, Rasta will die for Ethiopia. When you look the Rasta people who come to Ethiopia, they left everything they had. I came home, but they said, we come home too. I have a brother named from Trinidad, Jabu. You know, he packed everything. He packed everything he came, and he built a bakery in Shashamane. And when I see that, I say, wow, we've been brainwashed. You know, because I have friends who were with me in Djibouti who tell me, I'll never go back to Ethiopia. What? Why not? Come on, man. Do you think you're better off? Yeah, I'm better off. So I stopped the argument. I stopped the argument. There's a story I need to share with you.
All right.
My first week in Santa Cruz, I had a job.
In the U.S.?
In the U.S. At the University of Santa Cruz as a soccer coach. And there's a gentleman named Larry Moss. It's a very, white town, very rich town, Larry Moss is a black person. And he told me, he's the one who rent me, one bedroom in the back. So I just invited all my people, all my players, and big party. So the next day he said, what are you celebrating? Oh, I'm in America. He said, do you know why I rent you this place? Because you told me you're from Africa. He said, do you know it took us 400 or 500 years to lose our languages? It took us 400 or 500 years to don't know where we came from. And you come from Africa and you are celebrating with these people? You didn't even invite me. He said, you guys gonna lose your identity in 40 years. It was as if Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson had hit me. That's why I left California. I went to Hawaii, to the mountain. I had, oh my goodness, I need to exercise this thing. Woo! I waited 4 years to come to America. And this brother telling me, like, I'm going to lose my language, my tribe, everything in 40 years. Man, that's why I went to Hawaii. And then in Hawaii, I went to the most remote places. I went to Maui, Hana side. Hana is like the others. There's even a t-shirt said, I survived the Hana Highway. People thought I was crazy. But for me, I had to go to that place to just say, wow, where did I come to? See, we don't know the history of what happened. Now, lately, some stories are coming out that America's, black people didn't have it easy. Still, they don't have it easy.
Yeah.
Smithsonian is told, to get rid of the slavery artifacts because such a bad image. So, once you know who you are, that's why, I have this urge, my brother. Now you understand.
Yeah.
And the Rasta thing started in Djibouti. Djibouti political leaders' children went to school in Paris. And guess what? They see Bob Marley in concert. Blows their mind. Because they see all these white folks go crazy. So they came to Djibouti. They had a band named Harlem Soul. And I'm called to say, translate Bob Marley for us. So in those days, with disco, we John Travolta,
Yeah.
James Brown, I was like, shh. So when I read it, I said, no, this is for me. Everything, happened in sequence. So that's why I said I'm glad I didn't go to America through Bole.
Tell me about that.
If I'd gone to America through Bole, man, I'd be scared to go to black neighborhoods in America. You know what I mean? I'd be feeling like I'm a privileged black man. I'm an African. I'm not American. I'm not black.
All
That's
right.
what we go through. that's the situation.
All right. Tell me your experience with the Caribbeans. And I feel that you have this love, deep love and respect. And I kind of feel also that you have some expectation that some sort of salvation will be coming from that part of the world. Maybe.
Oh,
okay.
We're the salvation.
All right.
Repatriation, redemption is Africa. Marcus Garvey told his people, how can we trade an island for a continent?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I have a special respect for my Caribbean brothers and sisters. Why? They have awakened. They know that, the West is not their home. There's a brother named Sydney in Shashamane. He had a beautiful song, two songs that I cherish. Ethiopia is calling, Babylon is falling. And there's another one I listen almost once a week. Africa is our home. When you see our people trying to get away, run, Dubai, since my time, the others on that side are coming home, look into this place. And I feel that tourism should not be just, catering, to the Westerners only. I have big respect for my people. I have a sister from Grenada, I tell you. If you see her, she looks so Ethiopian. When she walks with me, everybody thinks she's Ethiopian. Sister Tabiel. Did you know, before I even come to Ethiopia, that these people have built their houses? This is where they want to retire. They have their properties. But they work hard in the West, save money, and come home. How many Ethiopians think like that? I mean, very few diaspora people have invested back in Ethiopia. But if we were smart, we would have had, all the others who went to Ghana too. So I look up to these people to come home because they have skills and skills they want to share with us. Rastafari is the avant-garde of the Black liberation movement today. And that's why it's been intercepted, interfered. That's another story. We'll get to it another day.
All right. Do you believe knowing many languages helped you in helping the tourism industry and yourself?
Sure. Language breaks barriers. What it does is people gain trust. When I first started, I remember some Ethiopian tour companies, they were like skeptical. Oh man, he looks so Rasta, the white people gonna be. Come on. 2014, the white folks, the French gave me a Master Guide prize representing the African continent. And you know how? For 2-3 years, the tour companies would send their own employees to see if we were capable and efficient enough to manage their groups, whether it was Simien Mountains, whether it was the Danakil Desert. So when I went to France to receive my prize, I saw them and I said, what the hell were you? Didn't I see you in a group? They say, yeah. We always do that. We said, the company sent us as just we were tourists, and we see how you treat our people for 10 days, 15 days. So that's why I told you we have to be professional. My personal feelings, they stay at home. I have to represent, this great nation. My weaknesses will, reflect. So I have to be strong. I have to be knowledgeable. And I have to be caring. And the quality that is required in this business is the love of people. You have to love people.
Yeah.
You have to put up with them for 10, 15 days. For the film work, I told you it's a month. Just the scouting them. So, Ethiopia, our upbringing, again, we were well raised. Our parents have instilled in us courtesy, politeness, and that's the quality of all Ethiopians. We know how to behave.
All right. Would you say Ras Abye is tolerant towards others? As a people, for example, you've been mentioning Dubai now and again. I like to go to Dubai a lot. And at the same time, I love Ethiopia. Do you think you could be tolerant towards this kind of people?
My brother, listen to me. You could go to Mars as far as I'm concerned. It's your prerogative. Please do. Please do, I have nothing against that.
Yeah.
Because, we've been so close-minded.
Yeah.
So next time you go to Dubai, I want you to think of this conversation and say, wow, suppose I went to Gambella, to the Baro River, and think about spending this money building a resort in that area.
That money cannot be.
Put your connection, put your network, put your people together. Build Gambella, build Ethiopia. Why, the Dubai, you're statistic over there.
Yeah, definitely.
But if I take you to Afaro Gambella, you're a royalty, my brother. So you have to know where you are embraced. Why go to a place where you're treated like just another statistic? Why not go to places where you are embraced and cherished and honored? That's why you ask me, why don't I travel? But listen, I can go anywhere in Ethiopia. I feel at home. Anywhere. And I can speak it with confidently. So why do I want to go elsewhere? If I have money, I'd rather spend it with my people. If I have extra money, I'd rather give it to my people. That way, I'll have a good sleep at night. I'll feel very bad to spend $200-300 a night to some fancy hotel chain in Dubai for 3-4 days. Personally. Yeah, but please do. Go and see, see the good things. Say, okay, we can bring, material, equipment for Ethiopia. So, yeah. But if you tell them you're going there to drink champagne, that's another story.
All right. What is this thing I heard that you taught? Is that physics in the US? Or some other subject in the school? I was like, really?
What?
Is that math? Or physics?
Math.
Really?
That's
Tell
math.
me about that.
You see, when you say lycée, when we passed high school, it was stressful. It was so stressful. Number one, the red terror. Number two, the pressure from the parents. But I think that, when I went to Djibouti, I realized my level of education is on a university level. And then when I went to America, I took it to the next level. And I realized, teaching French is fun, it's great. But they were more interested in learning Spanish. So in Hawaii, in order to avoid the minimum wage jobs, which is banana farm, macadamia nut farm, $3.50 an hour, I said, I better come up with something. Then I didn't realize, it wasn't me. The math is in me. So, yeah, I became a math teacher. And I enjoyed it because math is another language. Okay? And science and math subjects are not really encouraged in America. It's just so silly. I was more famous for being a soccer coach than a math teacher.
All right.
Yeah. So that's when I came to Ethiopia. I was a math teacher in the lycée. So see, everybody think Rasta man should have a guitar and sing. No, Rasta people are very creative people. People of many, many different, gifts and talents. So not everybody can be a musician. So you have teachers, you have administrators, you have farmers, you have all kind of people. So I'm one of those, who was in the academia.
All right. But you don't strike me as a huge fan of European education system. Education at all?
Au contraire.
All right.
You have to learn the history of education. Okay? When you see the history of education, the first education started in Africa. Okay? The Europeans did a great job for themselves. For themselves. They done a great job. Violently, peacefully, whatever you call it. They done a great job. But their karma is catching up with them. Okay, that's another story. Now, I'm for education. I am for like you said, the architecture, cutting what did our forefathers use to cut those granite stones in Aksum? What kind of measurement did Qudus Lalibela use to cut through the ground? Okay? That's mathematics. That is numbers. Okay? And also, when you look at our civilization, the language, the numbers, there's so much in it, you know? So science is ours. Did you know Isaac Newton was given credit through the European history, but 600 years before him, Islamic scholars knew about gravity? That's what I was telling you, you know. For 1,000 years, we don't know what happened in Europe, but civilization was moved to Baghdad and Damascus because in those days, the Sufis and Arab intellectuals are the ones who created calculus, algebra. So my thing is I like to go deep into the history of a subject. That way I can get the nectar of the knowledge. I don't want what's on the surface. I want what's inside.
Do you feel like you're an outcast in areas? For example, I was learning a lot from you, so I was assuming that this man must feel an outcast in different places because what he knows and what people around him would know wouldn't actually match. So that would be a trouble.
My brother, I'm not insecure. I don't need validation.
No, right.
I don't expect I'm not in competition with others. My mission is to share what I know and to uplift you, empower you. I'm not here to down nobody. If people want to down me, that's their problem. I'm not going to dwell on it. Yes, of course, even my own, sometimes my own relatives, sometimes you'd be saying it's harsh. Yeah, but I don't want to be pretending.
All right.
What's the use of pretending? You and I sitting here, you want to hear something authentic. You want the content to be real.
Absolutely.
So why do I need to fake it? That's why I always tell the young people, keep it real. Keep it real, and then you'll have a better life. You don't need to you don't need to expect validation from others. As long as you do the right thing, you have good intentions, and you stay in the frequency of righteousness. Every faith, I can tell you all about Judaism. I can tell you all about Christianity. I can tell you all about Islam. Because I respect all faiths. So if you don't like me, that's your problem.
Amazing. But the context I was raising that question is in terms of names, you have all these things, and your comprehension is really wide, and people may not feel. Oh, they may not cope.
They may feel insecure.
Yeah.
But I always tell them, life is not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Like I told you, I'm not, I'm not a teenager. I've been around the block.
Yeah. A lot.
A lot. And I always tell young people, it's good to be book smart, but also be street smart.
Amazing.
Okay? So that way you stay in touch with reality. You don't be in this illusion, this fantasy world, so that when reality hits you, you want to kill yourself or you panic and you just, you need to be strong. So I want to convey strength to my people. Mental strength and physical strength. That way, we're untouchables. We're invincibles.
All right. Okay. Where do you see Ethiopian tourism in the coming 10 years?
It's going to get big. It's going to get big. We just need to grow with it. The infrastructure has to improve. Our state of mind need to improve. Okay? We have to see this is a national pride. It just doesn't belong to a group of people, to a certain elite. No, this belongs to everybody. Each region, from north to south, east to west, must understand that we have a special country. The other day I was so happy. They say no more plastic. You don't know how many times I've been fighting over plastic bottles, trash throwing. And I tell them, we don't have another country. This is the only country we have. So don't spoil it. So in 10 years, where Ethiopia is going to go? We need to improve our infrastructure. We need to broaden our marketing. We need to stop looking in one direction. This is the planet. And we're right here. So we should just, reach out everybody. Whoever has the potential or the capacity to come visit Ethiopia. And we need to have responsible tourism. Meaning that, the people, the professionals in the business, they better know the subject they're talking about. We don't want pretenders. And that's what messes up Ethiopia's tourism sometimes. Because you have people who have no business being in the tourism, just jiving. And that's not good. So, the infrastructure, we have hotels, we have these things and this, that, but we do need to have camping grounds, which are state-of-the-art. Meaning, when I mean state-of-the-art, my brother, toilets and showers. The people will stay in outdoors. People love to see the stars. Like I told you, we have the perfect location to see the stars. The perfect location. Because we have these mountains, that give us close to the skies. And of course, security. We need to work out our internal problems. We need to solve it. And clean up, get our act together. That's the main thing.
All right. Do you miss the comfort of America?
I miss my child.
Oh, tell me about
I miss
that.
my dad.
Tell me about that.
I have a very strong personality daughter. Her name is Sahaitu, by the way.
All right.
Yeah, she's working with with organizations that look after immigrants, and she sees the challenge they go through. So hopefully, she'll be coming in 2026. So she can have one leg in Africa and one leg in America, because our children who were born there, they are longing to come and be at service here. So I need to establish a platform for her where she can come and contribute something. But I don't have to be 24/7 around her, because she's very independent.
Never been to Ethiopia before?
No, she's been to Ethiopia, but she had only 1 degree, so I insisted she get a 2nd degree. So that's why don't think like I don't believe in education.
All right.
I believe in miseducation, not education.
All right. The miseducation that you mentioned from the very outset, I understand.
Hands-on, practical education, yes.
All right. Okay.
Not no political science, people who spend years and years reading Marx and this. That's what, got us into the situation.
No, I went to
You went through.
I went to that school. No, I'm just joking.
I'm just listening.
All right.
Practical.
Definitely. I agree.
Plumbing, electricity, road making, hut making, And with architecture, I always tell people, don't copy paste the boxes, the homes that the European, try to come up with, with our ancestors, they had round houses, tall roofs, because, the mind, when it's blocked in, you're just so frustrated. That's why people just at each other's throat, living in condominiums and these apartments, we have land. So people need gardens. People need, to grow their gardens, even if they live in urban areas. So, policy changing.
True. All right. Our people in the US, I have a very huge hope that the young people that are studying in the US in different places, working and studying different universities, sometime will have the opportunity to come to Ethiopia, contribute. This has been something that I was saying a lot, not only in the US, but in different parts of the world, including in different African countries. Do you have the belief that not the young ones, but the immigrants that left Ethiopia during the dark time in others, do you think they love and know Ethiopia the way some people know Ethiopia? Because mostly what I hear is complaint. What I hear is hesitation about the whole endeavor, the whole work. So what is your insight into that?
my brother. You see, our people who went to America as immigrants, they don't have an easy life.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is in the second generation, because the children going to school, they see who they are. They're not Mexicans. They're not Caucasian. They are black people. Mm-hmm. Even though at home they're told something different. They told them, you're Ethiopian, you're so special. Please, you're in America now, you're a black person now. So these children, they go through racism, through all kind of drama. And then, the good thing is, some good parents, I've told them, instilled in them the love of country. So they don't have identity crisis. Mm-hmm. So yes, my hope is basically in the future generation, whether they are educated in America, whether they're educated in Mekelle or Gondar or Addis Ababa University. Mm-hmm. It's the future generation. That's why it's important, I tell you, that we set the example of, how things should go. Mm-hmm. We don't want to confuse them the way we were confused. We don't want the coming generation to be lost and confused and be, dependent on the outside world for its growth. So we have to set the standard. Already the standard is set. Atu Selassie, the father of Ethiopian tourism, mm-hmm. old gentleman, great guy. One day, he didn't even know who I was, but he gave me a scarf with silk, so I had to go ask, So he told me, you know what, my son, you don't know how lucky you are. I said, why? I was talking about Mursi, the Mago Park. In those days, cars, Land Rovers couldn't go. So we had to take mules to go to Mago Park. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I'm complaining of the dust. And the people before me who laid the way, who paved the way, they did not complain. So why should I complain? So that's why we need to do so much promotion. Those of us here, documentary films, YouTube, books, the way we are bombarded with the junk of the West, we need to fight back with promotion. We need to promote ourselves. We need to tell them, yes, there is hope. There's salvation here in Africa. And we need to believe it ourselves. If we don't believe it, how are we going to convey that message to the future generations? Look how they treat it now today in America. No matter how hard they try to conform and to be integrated, they forgot because their parents didn't teach them the history of America. How America was built. It wasn't a dilly-dally, my brother. So I'm glad, the reality is, those people have taken off their masks. They're letting them know who they are. So let them get the skills. Let them come here and share the skills and uplift the nation.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I'm always positive, my brother.
You should be, as you should be.
I am.
I mean, we don't have any other option than be that and promote all those. But you mentioned a very important point about telling the story of Africa, Ethiopia, ours. And our young people don't strike me as storytelling people. You're a storyteller at heart. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So what do you think we can do to actually improve this quality of storytelling? Then comes the branding, the other things that can follow.
Good question. In our days, we used to read books. Mm-hmm. That's how we used to escape in our mind. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, they don't read books. They watch films. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I told you earlier, but in the 80s, Kenya was not known. Mm-hmm. But one film changed the whole thing. Out of Africa. Hollywood showed it. The world wanted to come. So I'm asking Ethiopian filmmakers. It's nice to be filming weddings and stuff. It's great. I got nothing against that.
All right.
But come out of your comfort zone. Come on out. It's great to do Konso, all this. But come on out with me. And let me take you. Mm-hmm. You've seen some of the films I made.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to tell our stories. We don't want, I'm taking all these filmmakers to tell our stories, to tell the stories of my people. Wouldn't it be nice if it was us? We have artists, we have actors, we have so-called celebrities. What's up? So, we have the content, we have writers. And then I see sometimes on certain TV stations where we plagiarize Turkish and South American soap operas, and people watching it translated into Ethiopian language, and the mothers is listening to it, the children are listening to it, they're learning all this foul language. Come on. Who's running the show here? Why you want to bring that to our people? Bad enough, we got enough problems. So yeah, they will tell me, no, this is what makes money. But if you only knew what really makes money, you saw the film that I sent you?
Yeah.
6 million viewers?
Yeah.
The YouTuber, when he came, he had a few thousand viewers. Do you know how many subscriptions he got? 3 million. Yeah. So our young people, instead of doing these pranks on TikTok and all this nonsense, the division and hatred, blah, 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 cut the BS. Come to your senses. Come with me. I'll take you. I'll show you some real thing. So you can show it to the world. And that would be great. See, that would, wow. Remember I told you about that kid in Simien Mountains?
Yeah.
4,000 meters? He doesn't have TV. Okay? 7, 8 years old. Little kids. He got his, stick. And he's responsible for all those. We can make so many films and movies and documentaries, you name it. And that's how we're going to, get the attention of our young people. Because right now they're caught up in the junk nonsense. It's so junk. I try not to look at it because it shows that, the awareness and the consciousness is so low. So it's not their fault. They don't know better. We need to, so media people, private media, government media, take a chance. Take a chance. Go outside your comfort zone. People would go to Chicago and wash dishes. Oh, I'm in America. So what's wrong with you? Why don't you come with me to Bali Mountain? I'll show you something totally different. Totally out of you, blow your mind. It's right under our nose, but we don't want to see. My job is to just be,
I understand.
I'm the stone to build a refuse, my brother.
Yeah. All right. This is really fascinating, but I was thinking if we were to change places, like me being there, you being here. Okay, let's take me out of the equation. And what would Ras Abye ask Ras Abye? What is that one thing?
Oh, wow. You're hitting a hardcore. I always ask myself, have you done it good? Have you done enough? Have you done enough, Abby? I always face, not my shadow, not, outside, but the inner. Are you doing enough, Abby? Are you doing enough to get to know your country? Are you doing enough to get your fellow countrymen and women know and appreciate your country? That's what I do. That's the question I ask always myself.
What's the answer?
There's more work to be done. Don't give up. Keep going. I'm tired. I don't want to hear it. I take cold showers every day, my brother. Why I take cold showers? To remind me that as long as I'm breathing, I'm alive, I'm at the service of Ethiopia. I always tell my friends, my colleagues who work with me, it's not the true company we work for. We work for Ethiopia. So they feel like, wow, yeah, that way, you feel a sense of responsibility, Of course, you're not acknowledged by your peers or your whatever. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Nature have its own way to, to reward you. And the best reward is have a peace of mind. Calm mind is the most, rare jewel on the planet today. Everybody has a mental health problem. I don't. because I try to give as much as possible, whatever I have. Right. Whatever knowledge, whatever experience I have, I give it. I share it. And I always, thrive to know more. I remember the time where, when I first started, I didn't know the name of all the birds. I still don't. So I buy these books on birds and, everybody got a weak point. I am no perfect, you know what I mean? So what I do is the best way to learn about birds is teaching it to my daughter. That way I learn. So it got easier. You see, so don't give up. Keep reading, keep searching, keep, because we want to find what makes Ethiopia tick, what's going to make Ethiopia out of poverty. Okay? There's so many things. I know. We can grow so many different things, different plants, but we need to change the perception of our people. That way, we're going to, instead of being an outcast, people will listen. That's why I come to you.
All right.
That's why I did not refuse. I did not hesitate when you say to me, come. I said, okay, it's a good platform. I'm just going to.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you. One last thing.
Please.
I lost track of all the things that you do. In my mind, it was talking to my friend. It was like, I'll be talking to a tourism expert and we'll be talking about Ethiopian tourism. And now I'm hearing about this and that. And I'm really immersed in understanding, or as you may say, understanding all these things. What do you do?
Everything. Life is a gift of life. It's a gift. The present, when you look at the English language, present, what does it mean? It's a gift. I'm doing it. What I'm doing, the now, I'm doing it with you. So I'm doing it this 24/7. Whether you're a foreigner, whether you want a brothers, sisters, when you come with me, it's not going to be idle talk. I'm going to try to inspire you, encourage you, and push you forward so that you can excel. Because when you win, I win. That's my mentality. When you grow, I grow. Because you're not going to leave me behind, are you? You're going to leave me the back of the bus? I hope not.
This generation?
No, even this generation. It's our fault. We haven't done enough for them. We haven't shown them which way to go. We always show them, look at Paris, look at London, look at Vienna. We didn't tell them, look at Danakil. We didn't tell them, look at Omo Valley. We didn't tell them, look to what you call Bali Mountains, Guji Gideo. We didn't tell them, look towards the source of the Nile, where the Nile is. We didn't tell them that. We keep bombarding them with all this BS and just junk. It's our fault. So we need to bring them back home. Everybody.
Ras Abye, this has been fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome, and keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, because I see some of the things you do. You try to bring this young people and try to. So keep doing what you're doing. Because Ethiopia's wealth is the people. Once we empower ourselves, divine forces will be with us.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.